From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 10 o'clock news.
Good evening and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Russ Riesinger. Another day and yet another grim COVID-19 milestone. Coronavirus claiming more lives as the total case count surpasses 5,000 here in Yellowstone County alone. Well, tonight, 9 more COVID-19 related deaths to report, along with another 700 new cases across the state of Montana. 4 of those deaths right here in Yellowstone County, where the COVID-related death toll has now reached 81. The state's death toll now at 273. Yellowstone County just seems to break COVID records each day across Montana, including today, as the county surpassed the 5,000 case mark. In the first 18 days of October, the county reported more than 1,800 new cases. Last week, the average daily rate of new infections per 100,000 exceeded 67. That's a jump from about 36 just 3 weeks ago. Over the weekend together, Billings Clinic and St. Vincent Healthcare hit new records with 119 people hospitalized, 59 of those Yellowstone County residents, 29 people in the ICU, and 21 of them on ventilators. Well, today, Governor Steve Bullock urged Montanans once again to continue COVID-19 precautions for the benefit of medical workers. He also laid out the state's initial plan for distributing a COVID vaccine once it's available. MTN's Jonathan Ambarian gives us the latest update from the state on the virus.
Montana leaders say the challenges of dealing with COVID-19 have been even greater for frontline healthcare workers. At a news conference Tuesday, one of those workers talked about the burden of responding to the virus.
All of our job stressors are just magnified as we learn to do things like CPR in head-to-toe PPE, or we learn new methods of putting patients on ventilators while the doctor's hands are inside a plastic box, or as we have to explain to yet another tearful family member that no, you can't visit right now, but we'll hold the phone up for a FaceTime call.
Charlotte Skinner, an ER nurse from St. Peter's Health, called on all Montanans to come together across political divides to follow public health guidelines.
I'm asking you today to stop segregating yourselves into maskers and anti-maskers, and to stand with us on the common ground of science and evidence, which is clearly telling us that masking works.
Governor Steve Bullock again said Tuesday he did not want to implement new statewide COVID restrictions, saying that would be unfair to those already doing the right things. But he urged everyone to follow the guidelines that have already been put in place.
They need all of us to do more.
Also at Tuesday's news conference, Bullock provided information about the state's draft plan for distributing a COVID-19 vaccine once it's available. Leaders would first direct the vaccine to healthcare and other essential workers, and those at increased risk of getting COVID or experiencing a severe case. Bullock said there are still many unknowns about the eventual vaccine. The state will put together a vaccine coordination team to work on refining the plan.
At the state level, we'll be doing everything we possibly can to make sure that Montana's prepared for when a safe and effective vaccine arrives to our state.
Bullock also announced the state has distributed more than $1 billion in unemployment benefits to more than 100,000 Montanans since the start of the pandemic. That's more than 20 times the benefits they distributed during the same period last year. In Helena, Jonathan Ambarian, MTN News.
State leaders say the high rate of positive tests show how present the virus is in our state. The goal now is to make sure people who have had potential contact can get tests when they need them. Well, with time running out in the 2020 race for the White House, President Trump tonight held a campaign rally in Northwest Pennsylvania. The state and its 20 electoral votes could play a big part in deciding this year's winner. Deborah Alfarone reports from Capitol Hill.
With 2 weeks left until Election Day, President Trump returned to Pennsylvania for a campaign rally at the Erie International Airport.
Hello, Erie. Remember that great victory we had always.
President Trump won a narrow victory in the Keystone State in 2016, but recent polls show him trailing Democratic nominee Joe Biden.
It's a choice between our plan to kill the virus or Biden's plan to kill the American dream, and that's what he'd be doing.
The former vice president has spent much of this week in his home state of Delaware, preparing for the final debate on Thursday night. Earlier Tuesday, President Trump cut short a scheduled interview with 60 Minutes correspondent Leslie Stahl. The president later tweeted he's considering posting video of it shot by the White House before the interview airs Sunday. 60 Minutes says the White House agreed only to record the interview for its archives, and that the broadcast has a history of interviewing presidential candidates and asking important questions in the run-up to elections. Here on Capitol Hill, talks continue on a $2 trillion coronavirus relief bill. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi had set Tuesday as a deadline to get it done before Election Day. If the White House and Democrats strike a deal, Majority Leader Mitch McConnell said the Senate will vote on it.
If a presidentially supported bill clears the House, at some point we'll bring it to the floor, yes.
But according to a CBS News source, McConnell told Senate Republicans that he advised the White House not to agree to a large coronavirus stimulus bill ahead of the election. On Wednesday, the Senate is expected to vote on a smaller relief package worth less than $1 trillion, which President Trump has said is not enough. Deborah Alfarone, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
And tomorrow, former President Barack Obama will be in Philadelphia to make his first in-person appearance on behalf of Joe Biden during this campaign. All right, turning to Chief Forecaster Bob McGuire, just as the first batch of snow is melting out there, another early round of winter looking to hit us pretty hard.
Yeah, I just can't believe this. Here we go all over again. Let me show you what's happening. As we go to our graphic, this is the graphic that shows all of our computer models that deal with snowfall. And as you'll see, a lot of them here. Here they come in. It's a line graphic, and it shows anywhere from like 2 inches to almost 4 inches of snow right on through Thursday, right? And so here's the way things are shaping up. Here we go on right into Friday, 2 to 4 inches of snow, right? And then by the time Saturday gets here, we're talking 10 to 14 inches of snow. And if we carry this a little bit farther, the computer models are saying 14 to 20 inches of snow for the Billings area. That's a lot of snow, but you know, that's almost what we had last week when this thing hit us. Anyway, take a look at this. As we head in towards the weekend, look at how cold it's going to get. Overnight lows will be into the single digits, 4 above on Saturday night, 3 above on Sunday night. A really batch of hard winter hitting us pretty soon. We'll have more about it in a few more minutes.
Too early for that, Bob. Well, Montana Fish and Wildlife and Parks wants to move forward and drain Lake Elmo in Billings to rid the reservoir of invasive Asian clams. The lake could be dry next winter, but that could also create an opportunity for officials to make some improvements to the state park. Q2's Mitch Leahy has more.
In Billings, the shoreline of the 60-acre Lake Elmo has been dropped by about 2 to 3 feet in an effort to eradicate Asian clams, an invasive species first found in the waters in 2019. A new plan from Fish, Wildlife and Parks wants to drain the lake in its entirety next winter in an effort to completely eradicate the clams. The invasive Asian clams have mostly been found in less than 6 feet of water at Lake Elmo. Fish, Wildlife and Parks biologists believe that draining the lake will kill off the rest of the clams, whose enemies are the cold and lack of food that would normally be floating in the water. Lake Elmo is completely fed from Yellowstone River water that enters and exits the lake through farm irrigation channels. FWP says the invasive clams have not been found anywhere either above or downstream from the lake. The plan involves completely draining the lake next winter to kill the clams, and while it's empty, take the opportunity to do some improvements to the state park, including more jetties for handicap-accessible fishing and a boardwalk on the part of the property along Lake Elmo Drive. Public comment is open for 30 days starting Tuesday on the environmental assessment plan for the future of Lake Elmo.
In 30 days, all of those comments will be considered, and the regional supervisor here will make a final decision based on all of those comments and all of the assessments that are done by our biological staff here.
If the regional supervisor makes the decision to drain the lake, it will not impact any farmers or ranchers who rely on its water for irrigation. In Billings, Mitch Leahy, MTN News.
Thanks, Mitch. If the plan is approved, the park amenities could be completed by the start of spring of 2022. MSU Billings now has a new chancellor, and she's already making history. Stephanie Hickswaw currently serves as president of Northwest College in Powell, Wyoming. Under her leadership, Northwest College has achieved the highest completion rate in its history. Hickswaw served for 7 years as president of Miles City Community College there in Miles City. When she assumes the chancellorship of MSU Billings, she'll be the first woman to hold that position since the university's founding back in 1927.
The first woman president at MSUB is certainly an honor. I think that the position at this time in its history fits my leadership style and experience very well. And so it's an honor to be selected.
Hickswa will begin her duties January 11th. She succeeds Dan Edelman, who stepped down in August due to health issues. Still ahead on the MTN 10 o'clock news here on Q2. Campaign Cash will tell you how many millions Greg Gianforte has put into the final stretch of his race. We'll also learn more about him as a candidate. And in sports, a jack of all trades from scoring goals to stopping goals. The Central soccer player has the Rams dreaming of a title. We'll meet him coming up in just a bit.